Welcome to the Daily Review. This is Fed Razak, Senior Trading Strategist here at CMTrading. And today is May 2nd, 2025, and today is Friday morning. So looking at the highlights of the day, FAANG stocks plus Microsoft pivot higher, moving the markets higher as well. Now looking at today's major economic events. So we have at 2:30 South African time from the United States, very important NFP, Non-Farm Payroll number coming out. Now looking at the markets ahead of this big number coming out, starting out with the Forex symbols, the Japanese yen moves higher, big jump there. And as we move over to the indices, the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ both continue to gain higher, backed up by those tech stocks. Now looking at commodities, oil shift lower and slides lower to supportish level. And as we look at the stocks, yes, the tech sector did push higher. Netflix making new highs once again. And lastly, looking at cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin pushing higher as well. So let's take a look at markets and see what we can expect from today's trading. So here we go with the Japanese yen. A big move to the upside from 142 up to 145. Now it is hitting its 30-day moving average. Okay, so that is something I'm going to be looking at. Now, if it does pivot higher after that, okay, if it moves above that blue line, then I do imagine we'll see it back at that 149-ish level. That's really the next resistance-ish level, maybe a little bit of a minor resistance at 147, but it does have some momentum on the upside. Now, the rest of the majors really not following suit. They may play catch-up, okay? So looking at the British pound, it's at its resistance-ish level, really still in that consolidation state. And looking at the Canadian dollar as well, okay? So this is something interesting where the Japanese yen is going first, and we may see follow-up with the other major pairs. Now, jumping into commodities, gold really trading sideways, okay? It really pivot really sideways this past week, not much there. But crude oil did retrace back to its supportish level of $58 a barrel, bouncing off of it, but it did test it, okay? So this is super important as this is still on a downwards momentum, okay? I mean, overall, I still see this as a sell-off. And if we break this 59, that does mean we could be back in that mid-50. And this is unprecedented in my lifetime, okay? To see prices of oil at $50 is really unprecedented. I mean, in 2008, it was trading at about between $100 to $150 a barrel. Okay, so we're about 20 something years after that. And we're at $50. That's a big retracement for oil, and that just means things are more accessible. Okay, so now oil is a very important commodity in the world. Now jumping into the U.S. markets, let's take a look at the NASDAQ. A nice pivot upwards, and this one may still go to 20K. Okay, I mean we're only about 200 points or just even less than that, 150 points away from that. Okay, so we still have some upwards momentum here. However, looking at the Dow Jones, yeah, it moved up, but not as strong as the NASDAQ, and so it really paced on the tech stocks. And if we look at that, I mean, some of the tech stocks, Microsoft had a big day after its earnings. Look at that big gap up from 392 to 425, but I'd like to see some sort of suspension here, some sort of extension. That would kind of convince me that there's a lot of strength here. But if we fill the gap, okay, I'm not sure. Okay, so then that would be something on the flip side. Now looking at Meta, also had a nice gap up after its earning reports, and that's why it's super important when we get these earning reports, we get these big moves. Okay, these things are super important. Looking at Tesla, still strong on the week, okay, after extending itself as well. And some of the other majors still yet to be seen. Now, lastly, looking at Bitcoin, all right, at 96,000 a Bitcoin, okay, a nice pivot upwards, all right. We were consolidating for some time around that 95K, but finally broke out of it, and we're at 96. If we're at 96, we could get back above 100K, all right. So that's something that I'd like to keep on the radar because it still does have momentum. This is Fed Razak. I want to wish you guys a great day and a good weekend. Thank you.